Hey, Coach Brandon here, and today we'll go ahead and look at some of your videos. We'll go through them together using the software. This is going to be something that we consistently do every weekly update. Be really beneficial for the standpoint of communicating what I see and us just running through it together. Let's go ahead and start with a few of your videos. We'll just go through about 4 of them. I've seen them all. There's a few specifically I'd like to go through with you. So, starting out with this guy here. So first thing I notice is that our elbows drop a little too fast, and what it ends up happening, I like to call it the skull crusher fault. Now, it's more detrimental when it happens on the concentric portion or on the way up. Eccentric portion is not quite as bad, but it will waste a lot of energy for you to be tremendously unstacked while trying to lower the weight with control. So you'll see, if we look here, that's what I'm talking about right there. So it actually gets a little worse if I were to pause at the perfect time. The elbows end up right here, weight ends up here, and I call it the skull crusher fault because it looks eerily like a skull crusher. But ends up wasting quite a bit of energy, encourages injury. So what I want to do is just a slight change. I want you to go ahead and bring your elbows a little more at a 45-degree angle further out and tuck them as the barbell goes lower on your body, so you're constantly stacked with your elbow directly below your wrist, directly below the barbell. Really looking for that perfectly stacked position, preferably throughout the rep, even on the eccentric portion. So just a little note there that'll help out quite a bit. Next thing I notice is that right here, what I'd like you to start adapting to is actually depressing your scapula before you go into the rep. So what that does for you, the second we go into scapular depression, that actually increases the amount of muscle fibers we recruit, and it protects your shoulder under load. So all it is going from here, there. And you notice when I do that, nothing changed upstream. Everything's staying nice and tight, nothing changed. I'm just taking my scapula and I'm depressing it. That's literally all it is. And just like that, I recruit more muscle fibers, and my shoulder benefits greatly from it. Funny story about that, the first time I learned how to depress my scapula before benching, it immediately added 20, 30 pounds on my bench. And the next day, my chest felt more sore than it ever had because, again, it recruits a lot more muscle fibers, specifically in the chest. So definitely try to adapt that. I'll send you some good videos on that here in a minute. Everything else looks really good, though. I really like your leg drive. On other videos, it shows it a little bit better, but you have a solid leg position. Everything looks real nice. I like your sumo. Your sumo looks pretty good. The one note I would have for you is I'd love if we could end up in a little more upright position. Right now we're ending with a slightly broken or soft hip extension. So what I want to do is go hips a little further in, stand nice and tall, just that little bit. Think about your glutes, squeezing them through, firing them through, and that'll help quite a bit. But let's just go ahead and try to stand a little taller at the top. No big deal though, real easy thing to correct. Let's go and look at the next video here. Your deadlifts look really nice. Nice. So you have a solid squat. The only thing I would say is that when somebody squats, if we have a perfect side angle from the squat, we should see that the cap of the barbell's right in the midfoot. That's really what we're going for, and that actually maximizes power transfer and makes sure everything's nice and stable throughout the lift. If that cap is too far in front, it's going to be very quad dominant, and it's not going to be quite as stable as it otherwise could be. If it's too far in the back, then it has its own series of implications. Now, if you look in the video there, the cap is just a little too far in the front. Now, what we can do to fix that is a real easy fix. Typically, there's a series of cues I would have someone have to do to get it more in the midfoot. But your issue, I think, is very simple to fix. From what I've seen from that camera angle, it's kind of hard to see, though, is your feet are fairly straightforward. Now, some people benefit from this greatly because of the way we're built. The torque of the hip actually allows us to produce more power and handle heavier loads. But for a lot of people, it's really hard to sit back appropriately and get that that cap in the midfoot for maximal power transfer if our feet are like this. But you notice if the second we turn them out like so, you'll actually be able to sit back a little more and have a better power transfer, a better, more centrated position. So what I'd like you to do is just take those toes and point a little further out, see how that feels, and really go for that perfectly in the midfoot cap position. Very small fault, easy to fix. That's really the only thing I'm seeing that's going on with your squat. And when it comes to deadlift, both sumo and conventional are gorgeous. I really like what I see. The biggest thing I want to work on actually is the bench press. Let's go ahead and focus on that in the next coming weeks. And just let me know if you have any questions at all. I'm going to go ahead and send you some good content on tension building in the deadlift. And on top of that, some scapular depression principles in the bench press. I think that's just about it, though. Let me know if you have any questions on those. I'll send those over in just a minute.